So we are explaining to you how to go about doing this particular costing system. So this Excel sheet has been emailed to the ones that have got it. It's very simple actually. It's the very concept of doing this is to simplify each and every sub recipe that goes into making a product, and then to cost all of that so that you get a realistic costing. So this is basically how you would do it. This is, you have your subcategory, which is cake. You're a home baker, so HP, you can change that if you want, and the number of portions, which is 1. Now you also have here the name of the product, chocolate sponge. So what is the chocolate sponge going to cost you? So what I have done here is, first of all, I have converted all the ingredient quantities, which could be in grams or could be in teaspoons or whatever system that you are following. I have converted all of that to kg. Very, very important. You need to convert it into kg. That means you need to first convert it into grams and then divide the grams by 1000. So if you divide the grams by 1000, you will get the quantity in kgs. So here this is 100 grams. If you divide by 1000, it will be 0.1 kg. So very important. Here if you convert this figure into kg, you simply take your 50 grams and divide it by, take your 50 grams and you divide it by 1000, you get 0.05 kg, and so on and so forth. So we have converted all these ingredients into kg. Yeah, very important. Now why have I converted into kg and why have I converted into pieces or liters for that matter? Is because I am purchasing these ingredients from the market in those metric systems. I am not purchasing teaspoons, I am not purchasing cups. I am purchasing kilos or liters, or I am purchasing units, single pieces. So that's how I am going to cost it here. So what goes into making the sponge? You have eggs, flour, sugar, cocoa powder, cake gel, oil, baking powder. So all these elements are there. Now this recipe is more or less a good understanding or a very realistic denominating recipe, but you can also change this to include any other recipe you want. It doesn't have to be this particular recipe. The format is how to work this format is very important for you to understand how to work this format. Now what you've done is you've taken each and every ingredient, you multiplied the value or the quantity that you have used here, which is in kgs, into the unit price that you are paying for the kg of this ingredient. So that's how I have got this. Now this is in real time basis. I have got, these are our current market list prices. You can however change that to the market list price of your purchases. So if you are purchasing, say for example, sugar at more than 45 rupees, you can put it as 50 rupees or 60 rupees here. Or if you are paying in some other currency, you can put in that currency amount here. So if it is an international, if you are in dollars, you can put if you're spending $4 or $3 on this, you can put that amount here. Yeah, that once these amounts are put against each ingredient, all you have to do is simply multiply this value with this value. So you multiply 0.1 into 110, 0.05 into 45, 0.04 into 40, and so on and so forth. So you get the values of each and every ingredient total here. So you're spending 11 rupees on eggs, you're spending 2.25 rupees on sugar, you're spending 1.6 rupees on flour, 3.6 rupees on cocoa powder, 0.75 rupees on cake gel, and 0.50 on oil, and 1.15 on baking powder. So that's how you have got your cost for the entire consumption that you are going to use for making one chocolate sponge. So total up all of that. So you total up all of this and then you will get this value here. So when you go to this value here, it's very simple again. So here I have totaled up all of that and I have got a value of 19 rupees and 85 paisa. So this 19 rupees and 85 paisa here is just your food cost. It's just the material cost that is gone in. Yeah. the material cost that has gone in. So once you have got the material cost, you have to add to that your overheads. So your overheads is basically towards your salaries, towards your utility expenses, towards your raw material, towards your fixed costs. If you have some kind of fixed outgoings towards that, you can appropriate all of that. Just to make matters simple, we take 100% as your overhead cost. That is just a thumb rule. You can change it, it's up to you. So I have taken 100% as my operational cost. So if I have 19 rupees 85 paisa is what I've spent on the food cost, I'm spending another 19 rupees 85 paisa on my overhead cost. That gives me to a grand total of 39 rupees and 70 paisa. This is to only meet expenses. So if I sell this in the market at 39 rupees 70 paisa, for one sponge I will not make any money. I will only make my expenses back. I still have to add a profit to this. So if I am only in the business of selling this particular product, then I'll have to add 100% profit to this. So 39 rupees 70 paisa will more or less become 80 rupees as a selling cost, or even higher than that. Yeah. So let's go to the next example. So basically the next example is a sugar syrup. So since we are making a chocolate cake, we have already done the chocolate sponge. Now there's a chocolate syrup. In this again it's very simple, it's just sugar and water. I have mixed the two up, but I still have to cost this because there is a cost that is going to be incurred in this as well. So I have taken the cost of the sugar and syrup and I have got the cost here. Yeah, so this is my ingredient cost plus overhead cost, the total cost for my sugar syrup. Now the next what I am doing is, the next product is the chocolate ganache, which is one of the main fillings for the chocolate cake. So this is my chocolate cake picture, and this is my chocolate ganache which is going to go inside and on top. So how much ganache I need to use? I'm going to make a little extra ganache so that I have enough to make for this cake and to store for the other cakes as well. So with ganache I'm going to take 2 kilos of my chocolate compound, 1 kilo of my Amul cream, which is my classic 2:1 recipe. I'm adding some butter just because I want to make it taste better. I'm going to take all of this again to 1.10, that's quantities in kilos, multiplied by the price will give me the total ingredient cost per ingredient. You sum all of that up and you will get a cost for your entire recipe, which is 755 rupees for 3 kilos, because you have added 2 plus 1 kilo here. So 3 kilos, your yield is 3 kilos and the cost for the entire 3 kilos is 7.55. So if you divide 7.55 by 3 kilos, you will get your per kilo cost as 251.67. So 251.67. But you have also incurred a operational cost on making this. It's just it didn't happen by itself. So for that, what you're doing is you're taking a overhead cost on that. But since there's not a lot of overheads that you've incurred on this, you're taking only 50% overheads. So 251 plus 125 equals to 377.50. That is the amount of money you have spent without profit to make 1 kilo of ganache. Yeah. So we've got all the core ingredients. So now we derived all the main ingredients in that. We are going to tabulate all the ingredients into this master recipe plan. Again, quantities in kilos or in pieces. We got the unit price. Now in this I have added the sponge cost, the chocolate ganache cost, the sugar syrup cost. Now these are the mains. Apart from that, I've also added some garnish costs. So there are some garnishes that I need to add on this. If you see closely to the picture, there are some garnishes here. For that I have kept the garnish cost also in that. So I have taken the garnish cost. I have taken the glaze cost. If I am buying ready-made glaze in the market, I have taken the glaze cost. I have also taken the vermicelli cost if I am putting some vermicelli on the side. And I have also taken the cost of the cake base, the cake box, the candles and the knife, the party knife. So I have taken everything in this particular example. So I have considered, so this is a very realistic example. I have considered all the costs here, and the total cost again after multiplying per ingredient or per item will give me a final cost of 397.45. This is per kilo, per 1 kilo of cake. But this is again only material cost. After this material cost, I am going to add to this material cost a variance. Now what does this variance do? This variance is good if you are the kind of person that manufactures for Swiggy and for a cloud kitchen concept. So in that concept you can add 30% variance, and you will include the variance that you are paying to the aggregator. You can add it to your cost. That is what the variance does for you. Plus, apart from that, you can also add overhead cost for this, because the ingredients don't automatically become a cake. You have to put a manual action or a manual involvement in making a cake. So you can add an overhead cost as well. But you can keep it at 50% because you have already included overhead cost at every level. So you don't have to include it you don't have to include a very high amount here, unless you are doing a very upscale production where you can again increase this. So this is again very dynamic. I have taken 10%, you can take 20%. I have taken 50% overhead, you can take 100%, depends on you. To work this example, what I have done is I have taken the overheads at 10%, variance at 10% and overheads at 50%. So adding all of that to the per unit cost, I have achieved my net cost per unit, that is the entire cost to make this, at 596.18. That is the amount of money it has cost me to make my cake. That is the amount of money. So now next thing we're going to do is the pricing matrix. So going back to now, how do you price your items? So in this, according to this pricing matrix, what you can do is you can put the cost of the cake, which we have just fictitiously taken as 440 rupees. You can change it, you can go ahead with whatever rate you have got, it doesn't make a difference. It's just important to understand how this matrix works. So you put in your cost here. Now this here is your overheads cost is just taken here in this example as 50%. You can change the amount to 100% in the auto sum of this particular column and this particular block here. You can change that. We've just arbitrarily taken as 50% because that's what I would, the category of expense I would incur in order to make a semi-finished product into a finished product. So 50% is what I've taken. So my cost, that is includes my overheads, includes my material cost, plus my overheads cost, that is going to be my total cost of making the product, which is 660 rupees. On top of that, I am going to add a profit. So this column is for profit. So in this I have taken arbitrarily as my profit at 100%. That means if this is 660, my profit is going to be 990. That means it's going to be 660 into 100%. So, or you can even go at 50%, or you can even go at 40%. Whichever percentage you would like to take, you can put it into this. For example, you can take it at that, and then you will get at 100% profit. That means 440 plus 220, 660 into 100% will give you the amount which you need to add to 660. So all this matrix works in a very simple form. You can just use it and you will get the answer. Once you get your total cost, this total cost is what you should put on your menu. Now if you realize that this cost is higher than what your competitors are charging in the market, then you can reduce your profit percentage and make sure it is at par with what is in the market. That is called a going rate correction. So you need to correct it on the basis of the going rate in the market. If you notice that your rate is very low compared to what is selling in the market, so if you are selling at this rate and it is very low compared to the higher rate which is existing in the market, then you need to make an upward trend and increase your profit percentage. So both ways you need to understand how to work the matrix. One thing I always suggest people is never to add GST into your rate on the menu, because GST is something that is not in your control. It's always better to add it on top of this rate and keep it as an extra amount which you are calculating on a regular basis. So don't inculcate it into your menu rate, rather keep it separate from your menu rate so that you can apply it to what is being purchased. Also, a lot of times there are different GST rates on different products. So if it's a cake product, it will have a different GST rate. If you're selling an alcohol product, it will have a different GST rate. So, or it will have a VAT rate. So in those cases, the tax is always better to exclude it from your main pricing. Don't include in your price. Keep it as a separate amount and mention to them that you're going to include, that what percentage is going to be applied to your price as a tax. That will make it easier for you. So this is your final amount with your tax included in it. I really don't advise this, but some chefs like to do it this way. If you are that kind of person, if you're that kind of person that wants to give an all-inclusive price, you can follow this matrix for that. But in all given points of time, you should always try to keep your pricing in par with what is in the market. Yeah. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'm going to see you later. Bye bye.